At the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, I'm Clint Watson, and this is ZNS.
This is the Bahamas Tonight. The Northern Edition has a look at stories making news tonight. The TUC and its 14 affiliates strike throughout the Bahamas. Also, the nation's leader firing back at the TUC, calling it an unlawful strike. And later, the South Bimini Airport marks a significant milestone.
The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition start now.
They said he can't help me because everybody on strike.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. I'm Ramiko Knowles. Topping the news tonight, the Prime Minister has labeled it illegal, but the Trade Union Congress say they have had enough. The union and its 14 affiliates comprising the Bahamas Nurses Union, the Doctors Union, Bahamas Customs Immigration and Allied Workers Union and more have initiated industrial action. The move impacting critical government services on Grand Bahama. TUC President Obi Ferguson has charged it is time for a reckoning and government will face the might of workers over issues that for too long have gone unresolved. Cleopatra Murphy has the details of how that looked on Grand Bahama.
I get 2 broken ribs, I got a fractured wrist, fractured elbow, and my shoulder was out of place. I was supposed to see the specialist today. I'm in plenty pain.
A planned national strike by the Trade Union Congress and its affiliate unions is having real-world consequences for patients like Ramon King, who showed up at the Paris Plaza Specialty Clinic only to be turned away and his appointment rescheduled because doctors and nurses did not show up for work.
And they said he can't help me because everybody on strike.
And he flipped over a couple times in his car. So he was in the hospital for 7 days. I was over here for 7 days with him. We went back to Abaco, and they told us to come back on the 13th and the 14th to see specialists, 2 specialists he have to see.
King and his mother, Patrice Neely from Abaco, arrived on Sunday and were set to leave on Wednesday, the day his appointment has been rescheduled for. She says the strike is a grave inconvenience as it not only prolongs her son's pain, but it is also an added expense as they will have to extend their stay.
I don't know what's going on. You're saying you all need more money, but people's health is at risk, you know. If you all, I mean the government, if you all could pay the people what they need to be paid, it would be better for all us. You know, we'll get better service too.
From healthcare to education, services were impacted. Students at Walter Parker Primary left for morning, while students at Hugh Campbell Primary School left at midday. Parents are weighing in.
Not everyone can leave work to come and collect these kids. Y'all had ample time to let us know what was going on. Do better.
I don't feel the type of way. I mean, it threw us off from having to pick up, yes, but I guess everybody have to do what they have to do.
While the Bahamas Union of Teachers did not participate in the strike, the Bahamas Educators, Counselors, and Allied Workers Union did. Deputy Director of Education on Grand Bahama, Michelle Boleg, says while some schools had more than 50% of teachers and educators in, a sufficient number were absent, prompting the noon closure.
I'd like to thank teachers, like I said, those who showed up, school administrators that showed up today, and especially education officer, DEOs, district superintendents that went into schools making sure of the safety of students, and that was paramount.
As for health services, all community health clinics on Grand Bahama remain open, while the PHA says it activated protocols to ensure the safety of in-house and acute care patients. Now, for persons requiring emergency services, they are advised to visit the Rand Memorial Hospital's emergency department. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Cleopatra Murphy.
Thanks for that report, Cleo. Well, air traffic control services across the Bahamas faced disruptions Monday as over 90% of air traffic control staff failed to report for duty. The action comes as part of ongoing nationwide union strikes, with unresolved staffing and promotion issues at the heart of the dispute. Deputy Director of Bahamas Air Navigation Services spoke to the media today, revealing that while the situation is challenging, efforts are underway to address the issues. Raven Davis has more in this report.
Over 90% of air traffic control staff failed to report for duty earlier Monday, causing disruptions in air traffic control services. This much revealed by Deputy Director of Bahamas Air Navigation Services with responsibility for air traffic control in the Bahamas, Brian Wilson, who addressed the issue with our ZNS News team today.
Very large number of staff members did not report for duty this morning, but we were able to enact the measures to maintain efficiency and the safety in these services. So we have kept traffic moving safely and efficiently and results.
The action is part of a wider situation involving nationwide union strikes. Trade Union Congress President O.B. Ferguson had alluded to the possibility of such actions in a voice note circulated on Sunday. Now, Wilson clarified that some of the unresolved issues include promotions and staffing concerns within the air navigation sector. Reports suggest that the strike is expected to last for the next 2 days. However, officials at the Grand Bahama International Airport have confirmed that there have been no flight service disruptions.
By and large, Bahamas Navigation Services Authority has been working very closely with our movement to get their issues resolved. To a large extent, I think the majority of those issues have been taken care of. And I believe that we are moving diligently to address the remaining outstanding issues.
Meantime, Wilson says it is difficult to pinpoint what exactly led to this point, but he says it is expected that both parties will work together to find amicable solutions to the issues tabled. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Raven Davis.
Well, Prime Minister Philip Davis has responded to the threat of an unlawful national strike by Bahamas Trade Union, urging union leaders to engage in dialogue rather than disrupt the nation. Davis emphasized that the government remains committed to resolving labor issues through discussions and criticized the timing of the strike call, stressing that a meeting had already been scheduled for the following day. Our Shalia Roll joins us live in studio with a review of that statement.
Well, Ramiko, Prime Minister Davis has addressed the threat of unlawful industrial action in a press statement last evening. The nation chief says that he cannot let this evening go by without addressing a threatened unlawful industrial action announced by the leader of the Bahamas Trade Union Congress, O.B. Ferguson. The Prime Minister adds that Ferguson is an attorney and should well know about good faith and lawful conduct. The publicly proposed action is therefore surprising. Prime Minister Davis adding that it seems to him that in the face of this threat to break the law, the government must act. The Prime Minister says that he appeals to members of the trade union and their leadership to look at the facts. There is no issue that cannot be discussed and has not been discussed. The Prime Minister adding that it is known that he has had an open door and the door remains open. The Prime Minister says that after days of trying to reach Mr. Ferguson by phone and his apparent refusal to answer his phone, he now publishes a voice note saying with the untruth that the Davis administration has not sought to resolve problems. The Prime Minister adds that his diary shows that he had agreed to a meeting today at 2 p.m. Prime Minister Davis says that he is not standing on ceremony, adding that he's a leader that wants to resolve problems. The nation chief also adding that his main concern is for the well-being of the nation. The question one must ask is why would the head of the TUC want to inflict harm on the nation when the problems can be solved by discussion and not unlawful strike? Prime Minister Davis notes that he has consulted and remain in talks with the minister responsible for labor and public service, Honorable Pia Glover-Roll. She has done a human job on the labor front and stands ready to continue to engage. PM Davis making it clear that his commitment stands, adding that the union leaders, workers, and the Davis administration and all right-thinking Bahamians want what is best for our Bahamas. The press release further said they must and will make every reasonable, fair, and rational effort to provide proper health care and save the economy with the movement of visitors, residents, and products entering and exiting our islands with controls of customs and immigration. The Prime Minister adds that they value all other civil servants, seeking some level of negotiated resolve. Now, Ramiko, this strike is expected to last for 2 days. Will Tuesday be the end of this saga? Well, that remains to be seen. Coming to you live in studio for the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Shalia Roll. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Shalia. We wait to see what happens next. Well, meanwhile, President of the Bahamas Union of Teachers and Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress, Belinda Wilson, says while their affiliates would not participate in the proposed industrial action, she did put the government on notice, rather, that they are not far from doing so. She says they are still awaiting a proper dialogue about the proposed bi-weekly salary payments, a response to a memo stating that no retroactive salary adjustments or promotions would be approved for periods over 5 years, and other outstanding issues.
Our members are still awaiting the completion of the 405 outstanding human resource matters, including increments, salary increases, reemployment letters for our expatriate teachers, confirmation letters, back pay, rental allowances, and more.
Meanwhile, the Director of Labor, Howard Thompson, expressing that the government has engaged in quarterly meetings with union leaders, with the most recent session taking place in December and the next scheduled for March. He cites concerns over the reasoning behind the industrial action, noting that all parties have been in ongoing constructive and productive dialogue.
At those quarterly meetings, issues would always be addressed and discussed at those meetings. And a number of them are major in the eyes of the presidents and other members who are there, who are raising these concerns on behalf of their union members and their organization. So all of them are major issues. So I won't downplay any of those issues, but none of those issues was at a level where I thought was so critical that an impending industrial action would have been taking place today. As I said, my understanding is that there's been open dialogue between.
Well, in news from the crime beat, police in Grand Bahama are investigating a shooting incident that occurred on Monday, January 13th near Paradise Cove. According to preliminary reports, shortly after 5:30 a.m., an adult male was walking along the beach when an unknown gunman emerged from nearby bushes. The suspect fired multiple shots in the direction of the victim before fleeing the scene. As a result, the victim sustained gunshot injuries to his face and upper body and was transported by emergency medical services to the hospital for medical treatment. Following investigative leads, an adult male was taken into custody for questioning in reference to this matter. In news from Bimini, as South Bimini Airport nears completion, Bahamas Air marked a significant milestone by landing its inaugural Boeing 737 flight on the newly developed tarmac this past Majority Rule holiday. The aircraft, carrying 122 passengers, was the first of its kind to touch down at the upgraded facility. Airport Director shares the significance of the milestone. Bahamas Air's Boeing 737 making its inaugural landing on Bimini during the Majority Rule holiday. The inaugural flight crew included Captain Lemuel Ferguson, First Officer Sidney Woodside, Senior Flight Attendant Cecilia Jordan, and Flight Attendants Shanique Colbrook and Tiaja Demerit.
We're very excited about the beginning of that relationship, and we look forward to building it and continuing to grow it with our partners, especially the partners at Bahamas Air, given that they are the national airline.
Bimini Airport Director Jeremy Eby reports that 122 passengers aboard the inaugural flight were processed efficiently.
This represents a really great transition and for the airport. And in this effort, we're not sure if before Bimini Airport could process that many passengers from a 737. That was a question we had. We know we can now.
Eby also mentioning that preparations are underway to accommodate increased airlift services from international carriers.
Developing and we're building the kind of facilities that are required internationally, to international standards, to land, process passengers, and really provide the kind of services that are required for this level of transportation, one that wasn't there before. And we're excited for Bimini Airport Development Partners. More importantly, we're excited for Bimini and for the Commonwealth.
And still to come.
The swing is celebrating its sweet victory of the 2025 Pine Yard Rush Parade.
There are some things that are undeniably Bahamian. A good count salad, Junkanoo, the way we worship, the way we take care of one another, all undeniably Bahamian. And right in the midst of our iconic things, places, and people is Commonwealth Bank. Increasing access, sponsoring dreams, working alongside Bahamians to increase the quality of their lives for more than 60 years. Commonwealth Bank, nothing more than being Bahamian. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
Come on down and see what Dolly Madison has in store for you. Renovate and rejuvenate at Dolly Madison.
Tune into the Sabrina Brown Show Tuesday, January 14th at 11 a.m. for an informative discussion on financial matters with special guest, the money maven Kayleen Newton, on Radio 810 a.m. and on Facebook at 810 a.m. The Light.
Are you ready? I'm ready.
I am ready.
I am ready. I am ready.
Ready or not, it's here. That's right, the biggest gospel show with me, Uncle Fee Baby Boy, on 8:10 a.m. That's right, interviews, greatest songs, praise and worship. It's going to be exciting. We're going to take the Bahamas to the world and bring the world to the Bahamas.
Your number one team in the North. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
Welcome back. The results are in. A crowd gathered on Explorers Way to hear the verdict of the 2025 Pine Yard Rush. Coming out on top was the Swingers Junkanoo Group, breaking the 6-year streak of the Platinum Knights. Our Shalia Roll was in the middle of the action to file the details in this report.
Explorers Way is the center of attention as the results of the 2025 Pine Yard Rush are about to be revealed. Residents are gathering in the stands, chanting for who they believe will be the next winner.
All right, once again, any Platinum Knights in the house?
Various groups went head-to-head on the boulevard to show their skills over the weekend, but there can only be one winner. New Generation placed 5th in the A Division, while Classic Dancers took 4th place. CJ Lowe, a representative for the group, says that they knew that they weren't going to win, but the group still put their best foot forward.
We feel great. The reason why we're not disappointed is because we didn't come into the parade expecting to fully win. We came expecting to take certain categories.
Bringing the heat to the boulevard, taking 3rd place was the Platinum Knights Junkanoo Group. Thomas Curry, the leader of the Junkanoo Group, says that this Junkanoo season came with many challenges, adding that in the years to come, the Platinum Knights will rise to the top again.
We had a rough year, you know. I was just pleased that we made it to the road. 6 weeks ago, we was ready to close the doors because of some sponsorship issues. But, you know, we stand together and we say we're going to make the road for our fans, for the people of Bahama. You know, it is what it is. You know, we're a household group, and we're going to be back by popular demand. You know, know we're coming. We're coming back. But
breaking the 6-year winning streak of the Platinum Knights, taking home the crown for the 2025 Pine Yard Rush Junkanoo Parade was the Swingers. The group leader, Michael Miller, says that his team worked hard to secure the big win.
it's a well-deserving. First of all, I'd like to thank God for bringing us through this. Then my members. If it wasn't for them, we would not be here today. We have some loyal, hard-working Swingers members, and I thank them so much for bringing us here today.
And in the B category, Showtime coming in first, with Sting following. Coming in third place was the Bushwhackers. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Shalia Old.
Meanwhile, the new Junkanoo champions are still on cloud 9 after coming away as victors of the 2025 Junkanoo Parade. We caught up with the Swingers Junkanoo group as they detailed what this victory means for them. Shane Stubbs has the details in this report.
It was a great Indian reunion here on Pioneers Way, but now it's a celebration for the Swingers Junkanoo group. Now it's been some time since they last heard their names announced as the overall winners of the New Year's Day Parade. But they swung their way back to the top of the mountain after a resounding victory on January 9th. Their execution of the Great Indian Reunion, it's a powwow, led to multiple wins across various categories, including Best Execution of Theme, Overall Costume, Best Banner, and others. A theme desired to be executed by their fallen leader, Anthony Huck Williams.
A lot of work went into pulling the theme together, and we're pleased with the results. This was a theme that he was passionate about, and this was something he wanted to present prior to his demise. So we decided to pay tribute to him.
During the Platinum Knights' 6 straight victories, the group spent the past few years as third-place finishers in the parade, something that forced leadership and group members to self-reflect and change their approach and preparation for this year's parade. Aiming to wow the judges at every turn this time around, leader Mike Miller believes they left no stone unturned, executing from start to finish.
I watched videos of our wins and our losses, so we had to make some changes. This presented more of a hype. It was something different that hasn't been on the road here in Grand Bahama for some time.
As their saying goes, it ain't no playground without a swing, and their music played a huge role in moving the audience as they paraded down Explorers Way, a category that has been their staple throughout the years.
I shout out to our brass leader, Dylan Martin, Cameron Palmer. We had a good time basically throwing music around, trying to figure out what was the best option for the parade. So we had a few other songs that we wanted to play, but I think we selected the best songs that we could bring for the road.
And that was one thing to win, but another to keep the crown. And the group knows full well the work doesn't stop here.
We're going to take a couple of days off to relax, and then we're going to get back into shock to try to do it all over.
We'll see what happens during practices and just make necessary changes.
I must commend the chairman because he was one of those persons, he never let things just be as is. He always say it could be better. He made it a point to say that it could always be better.
For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Shane Stubbs.
Congratulations, Swingers. While as Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated celebrates 112 years of service, the Grand Bahama Alumni Chapter is giving back. Members of the sorority gathering at Tabernacle Baptist Christian Academy, feeding 75 students. For Anita Harris, the Grand Bahama Alumni Chapter president, says that every year the chapter has a breakfast feeding for local schools, and this time they decided to incorporate a private school.
Today is our Founders Day. We're celebrating 112 years of Delta, and sisterhood, service, scholarship, and social action. And this is a part of our social action to help make sure that the children have great breakfasts so they can be great students and be productive in their classwork today.
Harris says that the students were appreciative of the sorority bringing breakfast for the students.
The children are very excited. They're happy. They're coming over. They're picking up their breakfasts. As you can see, we only have a few left. And so as they come in and get started, they're coming over to pick them up.
And that's a look at stories making news. Jay, what's happening in sports?
Well, it's been baseball, softball. The major softball and baseball tournament took place on the weekend. That's coming up in sports. Miko?
All right, that's coming up next. But first, a check on the local weather forecast.
Tonight's weather forecast is brought to you by Royal Star Assurance.
'Cause it's so beautiful.
See news in the making? Call us at 352-9713 or 359-5167, or you can email us at ZNS3news@gmail.com.
Tune into the Sabrina Brown Show Tuesday, January 14th at 11 a.m. for an informative discussion on financial matters with special guest, the money maven Kayleen Newton, on Radio 810 a.m. and on Facebook at 810 a.m. The Light.
When you order a large Pizza Hut specialty pizza, you unlock a delicious deal. For a limited time, you can add a small one-topping pizza for just $2 more. Hawaiian, Supreme, barbecue chicken, meat lovers, and more flavors. And for just $2, you can double the deliciousness. But hurry, this mouth-watering twice as nice deal won't last forever. Call Pizza Hut Freeport at 352-9191 today.
Third Dimension on Yellow Pine Street introduces its new home improvement center. Step into our brand new, fully stocked showroom for the latest in doors, tiles, housewares, kitchenwares, bathwares, vanities, power tools, electrical, and plumbing supplies. So stop by our showroom to view our full range of products or call the Home Advisor hotline at 602-0935 today. We are your home advisors.
Journey to a serene oasis. Relax. Rejuvenate. Renew. Welcome to Renew Day Spa. For appointments, call 352-RENU.
Good evening, ladies and gents. I'm Jay Philippe, and welcome to Sports. First in sports, baseball has been a rewarding sport for Bahamians over the past few years, signing professional contracts with major league teams. Former Bahamian major league player Anton Richardson, who played for the Atlanta Braves and New York Yankees during his playing days, is now the first base coach with the New York Mets. Richardson sharing on the endless opportunities now accessible for Bahamians through the sport.
Take Bahamians, like we've seen it, Josh Chisholm is playing in New York in the Mecca, and doing really well. And so I think that's the ceiling right there, right? And I think he's even got more to go in terms of MVP caliber talent right there. And more importantly, I think baseball is just an opportunity to further the education, travel the world, meet new people, network. And so for me, it's a vehicle to so much more than just hey, did I get to the major leagues? And so when we think about it here at LDK, it's about how can we use these different tools and gifts that we have as a vehicle to more. And so being able to expose our young people to these different opportunities is super, super important.
Next in sports, Rising Stars Softball held the Greg Christie Memorial Girls Softball Tournament on the weekend at the Grand Bahama Sports Complex. A total of 6 teams competed in the tournament in the 12U and 16U category. Bringing special remarks was the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, the Honorable Mario Boleg. BOA President Romel Knowles, along with other softball legends, also brought remarks. When it was all said and done, it was girls like Diamond that walked away as the 12U Division champion in a close 1-7-6 versus Team Rising Stars, led by pitcher Kai Sweeting with 6 strikeouts and gave up 4 hits. The Under-16 championship was won by Rising Stars, who defeated Abago Pink Panthers 21-9. And finally in sports, called some high school basketball over in Abaco on the weekend. Agape defeated SC Boodle 26-20 in senior girls play. Now in senior boys action, Forest Heights got the win against Long Bay 50-23. And the other senior boys matchup, SC Boodle got the W 76-71 versus Agape. Cristiano Baloo led the team with 19 points. Jareel Tebburn chipped in with 16 in the win. And that's your quick check on sports. Your Facebook friend of the day is next. I'm Jay Philippe. As always, be blessed.
When rats are constantly terrorizing the masses, there's only one person who can stop them. After all, not even the strongest rat soldier can defeat the power of budget pest control. With budget, the toughest pest won't stand a chance. Call today at 351-7378.
Get in, get out, equip yourself for the future. Pine Yard Technical Center is preparing the next generation for tomorrow. Sign up today for long-term or short-term classes. Strike a spark today, ignite a flame tomorrow. Torch handling, fire watch, plate and pipe welding. Sign up today.
This Christmas, stay connected through all the family traditions. Holidaying is unwrapping gadgets, gigs, and gift cards. Sign up for a $64.99 or higher postpaid plan and get a free smartphone. 3 gigs of bonus data for 3 months and a chance to win a $100 gift card. We've got you covered with the ultimate postpaid deals. For more postpaid offers, visit us online at bdcbahamas.com.
Your #1 team in the North. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
And that's going to do it for us here in the North. I'm Ramiko Knowles. Thanks so much for tuning in. Here's a live look at the Bahamas tonight, coming your way next.
ZNS News is brought to you by the new BTC. Fiber is here. Faster, stronger, more reliable. Together, we are unstoppable. Switch today.
Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, reassurance amid mass hospital strike that forced officials to activate contingency plans. Also, what came out of today's talk between the Prime Minister and a major union head? And where do they go from here? And the Chief Magistrate laser focused on building on 2024 successes of significantly improving justice. The Bahamas tonight, the National Report starts now. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. For all intents and purposes, Princess Margaret Hospital looked pretty much the same as it always does this morning. While there were no lines, patients waited for services as a few family members gathered outside. Now, behind the scenes, though, an entirely different scenario. 3 years of reported injustices, unheard requests, and empty promises today bubbled over today, the first of a promised 2-day strike action with a large percentage of Princess Margaret Hospital's doctors failing to report for their shifts. Our Danielle Dean sat in on a press conference during which concerns about patients and the state of the public hospital were addressed.
Not at all the words anyone wants to hear, particularly coming from hospital officials. But Public Hospitals Authority Managing Director, Abinad Roll, put it bluntly to reporters this morning in the face of today's mass industrial action at the country's public hospital. Says of the Junior Doctors Union alone, 90% of them have called in.
As it relates to the nursing staff, we've only had about 10%. In Grand Bahama, the total population there, 25% of them have called in. At Sandilands, 15% of them have called in.
But will there be a crisis moving forward? Roll candidly admits the potential is there. However,
we will be doing multiple rounding in the hospital. This is to ensure that things are flowing well, that patients are getting the attention, as well as the ability to be able to discharge patients who can go home.
Roll further reassures the hospital has called in reinforcement.
Those areas where we have specialized nurses and persons trained, we've pulled them from the other areas to be able to support the nurses. We're also grateful to retired nurses, retired TCNs and RNs who have come together to help us, and we have a pool formed to be able to facilitate for the next 48 hours.
After which, if things don't return to normal, PHA has another backup plan, Roll insists. She noted that the healthcare industry is one that is fluid and that problem solving is no new concept. Reporting for the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Danielle Dean.
Well, a different tune sung by the National Congress of Trade Unions of the Bahamas, with President Dwayne Woods stressing that his union was certainly not a part of today's mass strike action. Lloyd Allen takes the story from here.
No national strike, at least for the National Congress of Trade Unions of the Bahamas.
We have not been advised of the reason or reasons for such an action.
And some members of the Trade Union Congress impacted services across the country Monday with strike action. National Congress of Trade Unions of the Bahamas President Dwayne Woods on the offensive.
If they've been having social dialogue and they wanted to pull off a national sickout or a national strike, then I think all three Congress should have collaborated together.
And that includes the Trade Union Congress, the NCTUB, as well as the Bahamas National Alliance of Trade Union Congress, headed by Belinda Wilson. Woods believes outstanding commitments from the 2022 Memorandum of Understanding signed with the then opposition, now government, is likely at the crux of concerns.
Not all of our issues in our Congress are solved. We still have matters to be solved. And as late as this morning, I would have given the Prime Minister a call, and he's already invited our Congress to a meeting to resolve our matters. And we intend to go by way of social dialogue.
Woods adding, in the absence of dialogue, the umbrella unions of the country will remain divided.
Like they never invited us to collaborate with them to see what their issues are. And we are unaware of what their issues are, so it'll be wrong for me to say where they are.
The trade union leader also condemning the actions by the TUC, calling them archaic and in poor taste.
It's not only from the National Congress of Trade Union perspective. Internationally, that's the way the world is going.
Woods contends there remains International Labor Organization guidelines which helps unions to navigate challenges, and he hopes the Trade Union Congress president soon complies, if not for his own benefit, but for his members. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Lloyd Allen.
As you just heard, not all unions standing in solidarity with the TUC and its affiliates, and by extension, their strike action. Corval Pyfrom has reaction tonight from the head of the Teachers Union.
So today, the members of the Bahamas Union of Teachers from Grand Bahama to Inagua, they reported to school as usual at 8:45 a.m. until 3:15 p.m.
Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson reporting that her members headed to work Monday as rival affiliate unions under the Trade Union Congress, led by President Obie Ferguson, staged what is being called an illegal strike. Now, while Wilson and the Bahamas Union of Teachers did not participate in today's industrial actions, the BUT president tells us that from a philosophical standpoint, she supports many of the TUC's positions. However, she says it's time that Obie Ferguson step down.
When we examine the concerns of customs and immigration, when we examine the concerns of the junior doctors and the nurses, when we examine their concerns mirror the concerns that the Bahamas Union of Teachers has, the Bahamas Public Services Union has, and other affiliates have. So we know of the fight. We support a stance, but we always look deeper when it's been led by Obie Ferguson.
The feud between the two union leaders has escalated in recent years, with Wilson taking great issue with Ferguson's decision to sign a memorandum of understanding in 2021 with the then opposition Progressive Liberal Party, hailing it at the time as a workers' agenda. Wilson says fast forward to 2025, the PLP now in government, and Ferguson and his affiliates have all been sold a bill of goods.
And I stand by what I said. Mr. Ferguson, your bowl of porridge is cold. So now you're crying and you're using workers to push your own personal agenda. Stop it.
For Wilson, the only way to right this ship is for Ferguson to step down.
It is not my character to attack another trade union leader.
And she hopes he does it sooner than later.
Move on, Mr. Ferguson. Your time is up. Tick-tock.
For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Corvell Pyfrom.
Well, meantime, ahead of today's planned action at its agency, the National Insurance Board making it clear that it's always been its goal to reach a fair and mutually beneficial agreement, adding, though, that its priority is the sustainability of the fund. Now, NIB officials also putting it out there that they have successfully concluded negotiations with the Public Managers Union, and this week will seal the deal with an agreement signing. They're equally optimistic about a resolution with the Union of Public Officers, or UPO, noting that the only outstanding matter is a financial one pertaining to the 5th year of the proposed industrial agreement. That said, NIB is encouraging the UPO to return to the table. Coming up, a U.S. magistrate hands down an order in that multinational guns for drugs transshipment scheme. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. There's more news in a moment.
Hear that? If you listen closely, you can hear the heartbeat of a nation. That unique sound of a great country pounding with colorful history, a rich culture, and unwavering ambition. When you look around, you recognize its pulse. The people who love to celebrate, who identify with triumph, a people who know how to be our brother's keeper. Commonwealth Bank, built by Bahamians, here for Bahamians, Bahamians helping Bahamians.
This one? No. Hey, look, KFC has an incredible promo.
I already had that for lunch.
Oh.
Crunch your hunger cravings and satisfy the whole family with KFC bucket meals starting at just $20. Get freshly prepared golden fried chicken, buttery biscuits, and add your favorite large sides. Bucket meals starting at just $20. KFC, finger licking good.
Whether you're crossing borders or navigating busy airports, with BTC's reliable data roaming, you're always in touch. In a fast-paced world, staying connected is key. Don't miss important moments. Stay connected effortlessly with BTC, wherever your journey takes you.
At the Water and Sewage Corporation, safety and convenience are our top priorities. However, our meter readers face challenges that can make their job difficult. Locked gates to guard dogs sometimes leads to missed readings and estimated bills, which can be frustrating for you and us. That's why we're upgrading to digital meters. They bring safety, accuracy, and convenience to homes across the Bahamas. We can streamline data collection, reduce on-site visits, and provide more accurate bills with no more estimates. Digital meters also help detect leaks early, saving you from costly bills and reducing water waste. Soon, a user-friendly app will let you track your water usage, manage bills, and stay informed, all at your fingertips. Over the next year, we're rolling out digital meters nationwide, transforming how we serve you with a safer and cost-efficient water supply. To learn about our digital meters, visit our website or call us today. And don't forget to update your information at any of our locations.
The news is brought to you by Bahamas Striping Group of Companies.
You're looking at a stunning aerial shot there of the Atlantis Paradise Island Resort at night. Welcome back. A black hearse is escorted by a police car leaving Soldier Road after 3 this afternoon. Following reports that a man had died, our team arrived after the body was taken, but based on reports reaching our newsroom, the victim died due to natural causes. Police have not yet issued a comment on the matter. Well, today's discovery coming just as detectives dig deep into the circumstances surrounding an early morning shooting here in New Providence that snuffed the life out of a 27-year-old man. The where and when? Big Pond after midnight. The what? Police disclosing that the victim and 2 others were outside a home on Lakeshore Road off Tucker Road when a black American model sedan pulled up. An occupant exited the vehicle and opened fire before speeding off south onto Water Street. The police later found the wounded man with multiple gunshot wounds. He died in hospital. Now, the why behind this particular story is still being pieced together. Meantime, a somber few days for the Aquinas College family who are mourning the loss of one of its scholars. The Catholic Board of Education confirming in a release today that 9th grader Ethan Clark collapsed during PE class last Thursday. Trained school personnel attended to the teen. An ambulance was called. Ethan, however, died at Doctors Hospital. Focusing on the positive, though, the Aquinas family remembering the student as kind and mannerly, one who enjoyed playing in the school's band. Now, we can also tell you that a team of counselors and clergy will be available to students, teachers, and parents. And this is heartfelt condolences are extended to Ethan's family and friends. Well, United States Magistrate Barbara C. Moses handing down an order in the case of Chief Superintendent of Police Elvis Nathaniel Curtis. That order requiring the U.S. government to disclose to the defense all information in relation to the indictment against Curtis and 12 others for allegedly participating in a multinational guns for drugs transshipment scheme. Magistrate Moses ordering that the government must disclose to the defense all information, quote, favorable to an accused that is material either to guilt or punishment. The order made in New York on January 8th. Back here in the capital, the lower courts are looking forward to building on the successes of 2024. Chief Magistrate Roberta Reckley, in a rare interview, said one of the most significant things to occur at the magistrates' courts was the increase in the jurisdiction. Prior to last year, persons were only to bring claims of up to $5,000 to the lower courts, but that amount has been upped to $20,000. According to the Chief Magistrate, this greatly aided with allowing more cases to move through the courts and a swifter resolution to more matters.
Many more people are finding resolution to matters that they would have to wait a long time in the Supreme Court, spend a lot more money. So they're taking advantage of that. We're seeing a tremendous amount of volume in terms of cases that are being brought and completed, which is, I think, the Bahama people seem to be thankful for it.
Appointed back in 2023, Chief Magistrate Reckley says that this year the courts will look at making better use of technology to help with expanding access to the family islands and additional ways to ensure the dispensing of matters is done in a timely manner.
Whether it be a civil matter or a criminal matter, persons seem to have an issue with how long matters take to get through the courts. I think with taking advantage of technology, which is something we want to do, certainly in the family islands, take more advantage of the access that persons have through electronic media. I think we can get a lot more done.
And speaking of the law, new amendments to the Environmental Planning and Protection Act extending its power to allow the department to issue fines on the spot. Felicity Darville has more on that story.
Clearing down an environmentally sensitive area like this without a permit could cost you $20,000 on the spot. Failure to pay within 14 days could land you in court. A conviction from the court could cost you a $30,000 fine or even land you in jail. The Department of Environmental Protection and Planning now has the power to issue a series of spot fines for environmental infractions. Heavy equipment operators are urged to ensure that their client presents a Certificate of Environmental Clearance, or CEC, before clearing land anywhere in the country. Amendments have also been made to the Act to reverse the red tape and the headache that the CEC was initially causing. Director Dr. Rihanna Neely Murphy explains.
how the law was interpreted was that every project in the Bahamas was to be subject to the environmental impact assessment regulations and would require a certificate of environmental clearance. This meant that if you were installing a fence on your property, that you would need a certificate of environmental clearance. If you were conducting a renovation to your single-family home, you would need a certificate of environmental clearance. And so this became very burdensome to the newly established department, as well as to other government agencies, Ministry of Works, etc.
For smaller projects, there's now a single form and no fee required. These changes are particularly important to Family Island residents. Minister the Honorable Vaughn Miller announced that these no-fee forms will be available at Family Island administrative offices.
For the Family Islanders, whatever they were building, everything, as Dr. Neely alluded to, if they were putting up a fence, if they were building a structure that was not anywhere near wetlands or beachfront or any sensitive areas, everything had to come to New Providence. And so it was burdensome not only on the department, but also on the Family Islanders. And so this is a relief for them.
Decreased paperwork and instant spot fines are just some of the changes the new amendments will bring. Felicity Darville for the Bahamas Tonight.
Now, Dr. Neely Murphy also forewarning food stores and other businesses that the use of plastic bags can lead to an automatic $1,000 fine, and that's per banned plastic item.
I'd like to encourage the general public. We're going to show the schedule of fines. And like I said, the fines range from $1,000 to $20,000. If you're found with a banned item, for example, the plastic ban was marked 5 years on January 1st, and we're seeing a lot of businesses beginning now to carry the plastic bags again. The fine for having these in your store, in your possession, is $1,000, and that is $1,000 per. Okay, so we encourage you to clean up your shops, clean up your places. If you're working without a certificate of environmental clearance, if you're starting work without a CEC and a CEC is required, the fine for that is $10,000.
Some other infractions that could end in an immediate spot fine are damage to coral reefs, the discharge of hazardous substances into Bahamian waters, and much more. Well, stay with us. On the Beat is after the break.
This portion of the news is brought to you by folk called SmartPass, the smart way to pay at the pump.
We're here at the Nassau Village Community Center project, where over the past 17 months, we've hired over 20 Bahamian subcontractors to bring this beautiful project to fruition.
I've been living in Nassau Village for more than 19 years, and to see a project like this bring great joy and pride to me.
This state-of-the-art multi-purpose community center will serve as a crime-fighting initiative in the community. Also help with the education of our kids in this community and a hurricane shelter.
Yeah, and it also shows what we as Bahamians can achieve when we work hand in hand with each other.
We have the technical know-how, and we can pretty much deliver on any project here in the Bahamas or in the world.
Bahamas Pipe and the Bahamian Company, they prove that they believe in Bahamians.
Based on the outcome of this project, I don't think they're disappointed in giving a small person an opportunity to do a job such as this.
The more opportunity they get, the more opportunity we will get.
If you look around and see the work done so far, it just shows what we as Bahamians can do.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home health care supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price. And you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
When it comes to the big things,
When it comes to envisioning the future we'd like to build, I'd like to believe we can agree. We want a free, fair, and prosperous country in which every citizen is treated with dignity and blessed with opportunity and security.
Register today at tclevents.com.
The skin is the body's largest and one of its most important organs. For this very reason, it needs constant care and attention. But for many of us, skin care is an afterthought. Well, our Danielle Dean sat down with an esthetician of 12 years to get a better idea of what, in particular, facial skin needs to thrive.
When it comes to skin types, 3 of the most commonly discussed are dry, combination, and oily skin.
Dry skin is normally sometimes, confused with dehydrated skin. Dry skin is when you don't really see any oil production coming up on the skin. I have combination skin, whereas in my T-zone area, which would be my forehead, my nose, the top of my lip, and my chin, I get oil production. And then on my cheeks are fairly dry. I also break out more so in those areas as well. So that's combination skin. It's a mixture between oily and dry. Oily skin, which can then have like enlarged pores. You can have cystic acne. You can have acne all over. Hormonal acne is a difference with oily skin. Oily skin is one of the skin types that a lot of Bahamians think they have, but not really. Just because you see a little bit of oil doesn't mean you have oily skin. It could just be from what you're eating, what you're drinking.
Speaking of ingestion, Perfect Tone's lead esthetician Jem Brennan strongly recommends those aiming for healthy skin practice good eating habits and drink lots of water as opposed to fast foods and sugary drinks. The latter do nothing but work against any skincare goals one may have.
A good way to tell if your skin is dehydrated is just by simply doing the trick with the back of your hand. You pinch it. If it stays up, then that means you need more water. If it, goes back right into place, then your skin, is hydrated. Another habit that I see people have is touching their face. Your hands carry a lot of germs. Like, even if you think that, you've already washed your hands and nothing's going on, the faucet that you just touched to turn on still has germs on it.
Brennan advises that facial skin, due to its fragility, doesn't take well to the use of abrasive products like cloth towels. Neither will the typical drugstore soap do the trick. Persons must think their skin worthy enough of proper consultation with a trained esthetician so they can be recommended the most suitable products for the skin's success. With Health Matters for the Bahamas tonight, I'm Danielle Dean.
Well, thanks, Danielle. We're now going to check in with LaDawn and Desmond for a sneak peek of what's coming up in Access Now, guys.
Well, Makush, to let you know, on January 9th, Junkanoo was infused in our public schools, and I think Palmdale Primary was the first one, right, Desmond?
Yeah, picking up steam. Palmdale Primary students getting in the Junkanoo mood and spirit.
Well, it's always good to get the youth involved. But stay with us. The National Report returns after the break.
In the Bahamas, we're connected by more than just our islands. Now we're connected by Sand Dollar. It moves with you across many digital wallets. It doesn't matter if you use Bank of the Bahamas, Cash and Go, Island Pay, Canoe, Mobile Assist, Money Max, Suncash, or Omni. Sand Dollar, one currency and many wallets. It's inclusive, convenient, secure, and uniquely Bahamian. Embrace the future. Available for everyone on all Bahamian digital wallet apps.
People are going crazy for Popeyes around the world. Some have camped out for hours just to try our delicious chicken. This guy stocked up on 300 crunchy, juicy chicken sandwiches, just in case. And these lovebirds celebrated their wedding with the Popeyes cake. For real. We get it, y'all chicken lovers. Because we're just as crazy to marinate our chicken for 12 hours and make every piece by hand. That crazy love, we love.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
So we helped bring some magic to the Aubrey Sale Primary School. We were able to visit with Mickey Mouse, bring some gifts, and just celebrate the magic of Disney in the community today here in Nassau.
We were in a Disney sort of mood. It was such a great joy to see their faces light up and to hold those toys in their hands, knowing that I've got a piece of Disney in my hand. It was just awesome.
Disney coming to Eleuthera, coming to Nassau and Abaco. I'm so proud of Disney Cruise Line and the work Disney is doing, especially in the classroom and the schools in the Bahamas.
This has been an amazing day for me.
That does it for the National Report, but stay close. The Bahamas Tonight continues with Access Now.
Experience the difference with BTC's fixed services. Whether you're working from home or enjoying family time, BTC ensures you're always in touch with the people and moments that count. BTC isn't just a service, it's a lifestyle. Stay connected, stay inspired, and live your best life. BTC.
Tourism today. Bahamas tourism today.
Experience the magic of paradise in Acklins and Cricket Island. These islands remain almost as natural today as they were hundreds of years ago. Splash and cruise through the shallows to explore this one-stop haven for boating, bone fishing, snorkeling, and diving. Or better yet, explore Thompson's Blue Hole. Or learn about the rich history of our ancestors at Portland's Plantation. From the sea to your plate, Acklins and Cricket Island offers an array of authentic Bahamian delicacies fit for a king. And what better way to end your day than with nature's healing gift of freshly brewed bush medicine? Looking for an authentic island getaway? Visit Acklins and Cricket Island today. For more tourism updates, visit Tourism Today or Bahamas.com. I'm Joshua Robbins, and this is Tourism Today.
It starts its conference here in the capital. Details straight ahead.
Plus 47 Commonwealth Bank managers graduating from leadership training.
It's Junkanoo time at the Palmdale Primary School. Stay close.
And coming up in sports, over 100 golfers tee up at the Bahamas Golf Classic.
The Bahamas Tonight Access Now starts now.
Well, we're back in the swing of things. Good evening, I'm Desmond Saunders.
And I'm LaDawn Davis. Welcome to the Bahamas Tonight Access Now.
Well, just 1 week, the 47th President of the United States will be sworn in, and all of MAGA Nation will be happy.
Are you going to be happy, Desmond? Just a little bit? Somewhat? All right. I will be tuned in, taking in all of Washington's sights.
And we have a team, LaDawn, over there catching it all, and, well, you'll stay tuned for more details of that. Right now, we dive straight into the news. The Bahamas Turks and Caicos Islands Conference of the Methodist Church held its 213th annual session on Sunday, bringing together clergy and congregants to reflect on the mission and work of the church. Diane Dorset has more.
The 213th annual session of the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos Islands Methodist Conference was a momentous occasion for the Methodist community. With worship, prayer, and fellowship at the heart of the session, attendees reflected on the church's mission and future. Conference President Bishop Theophilus Rolle delivered a message referencing the final words of John Wesley, the founder of Methodism, and the theme of this year's session, The Best of All, God is with us.
Lifting up his arms in token of victory, of raising his feeble voice with a holy triumph, not to be expressed again. Repeated the hard, reviving words, the best of all, God is with us.
Bishop Rolle went on to emphasize that these words serve as a call to remain steadfast in faith and mission, particularly in a world that often feels uncertain. Speaking on behalf of the Prime Minister, Minister Jomo Campbell reflected on the impact of the Methodist Church and its continued role in uplifting communities.
The Methodist Church has become synonymous with excellence, and this conference is no exception. Just as the Methodist Church continues to stand as a beacon of faith and hope within our communities, I encourage all of our citizens to embrace the same spirit of patriotism and unity.
The conference also served as a moment of unity, with delegates reaffirming their commitment to the church's mission. From outreach programs to spiritual development, the Methodist Church continues to address both spiritual and social needs across the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Islands. Bishop Rolle concluded his message with a challenge for members to live out their faith boldly, inspired by the enduring words of John Wesley.
If we learned anything from John Wesley's final words, the best of all, God is with us. He's saying to us that in the paradoxical experiences of life, when everything seemingly is coming to an end, God is at God's best.
The 213th annual session was not only a time of reflection, but also a call to action for Methodists across the region. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Diane Dorset.
Thanks a lot, Diane. The first Bahamian bank to surpass $1 billion in assets, Commonwealth Bank, starting the year strong, transforming leaders across the company through its professional development program. Lloyd Allen has more from the program's culmination, which took place at the Atlantis Resort.
A night to celebrate for 47 managers of Commonwealth Bank, who this past week officially became the second cohort of the bank's annual Leadership Development Program.
For this year's program, our theme was Forging the Future through Visionary Leadership.
HR Vice President Claudia Rolle says the program is designed to strengthen internal talent, evolving with the bank's overall transformation.
Everything we do is about our customer, and having leadership in place allows our employees to have the opportunity to have someone to support them to deliver great customer service to our clients.
Spending more than 3 decades at Commonwealth, Prince Charles Assistant Manager Monique Forbes said she feels more empowered to lead.
The ability to interact with a cross-section of our leaders in the company. We don't always get that opportunity because we are in different branches. So that was very, very good for me.
IT Senior Manager Richard Sand says he simply wants to continue to develop professionally.
I've been with the bank maybe over 8 years. This position is beneficial for me because it helped me foster greater communication with my team members.
Bank President Denise Turnquest says it's programs such as this which help in building team and community.
The progress we've made since our last gathering is remarkable. And yet, our journey of growth continues. In today's rapidly digitalizing financial landscape, agility isn't optional. It's imperative.
Now, as those 47 graduates contributed to creating this mural right here behind me, the bank officials are hoping for leadership to remain an important component of its brand now and well into the future. Reporting from the Atlantis Resort for the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Lloyd Allen.
Well, hats off to all the graduates. The Ministry of Education's plan to integrate Junkanoo within the public school system, picking up steam, and it's already garnering positive feedback from young Junkanooers at the Palmdale Primary School. For 6th grader April Knowles, the exposure to the art and science of Junkanoo is nothing short of extraordinary.
I feel happy. I want to learn something new.
Yeah, I do like Junkanoo. I feel good about that. So we could learn some new stuff about Junkanoons. I would probably want to dance or sing.
Well, school principal Dr. Clinton Josie believes strongly that children should be exposed to Junkanoo and other equally worthy cultural practices in schools.
Learning is fun. It shouldn't just be the regular mundane teaching and learning, but this brings excitement. I can see it happening in the math program. I can see it happening in the literature and numeracy program. I can see it happening even in the social subjects areas as teachers take off with the rhythmic beat of education that's called Junkanoo.
Well, still to come later on Access Now, Reverend Angela Palacios. She's in the house, going to tell us about the importance of prayer and devotion. Stay close for that.
Security offer a varied range of security services, including guard service. We do armored service, we do pre-employment investigation, background checks, also vet people for employment. A live business hosted PBX is extremely important to our operation. I don't have to be in my office. I can easily get connected with our clients, my vendors, my NASA office, and with our employees in the field, anytime, anywhere.
Tech in your car. Fill up with Ruby's Ultra Tech. Spend less and go far. Fuel up with Ruby's Ultra Tech. Get the most out every ride. Just watch your car perform with the best fuel inside. Fuel up with confidence in every mile. Get Ruby's Ultra Tech in your tech and drive with a smile. Watch your car perform with the best fuel inside. Fuel the difference with Ruby's Ultra Tech.
Great images there. Live shot of Bahama Resort. Great shot. Let's fly to Anagua. Well, as all of you are aware, Junkanoo, our national culture, is not just unique to the island of New Providence. You're looking at some clips of Junkanoo on the island of Anagua. There's surely no hush-hush about this. No island left out. Good stuff there. Going to turn things over to LaDon. LaDon.
Well, Desmond, prayer is the direct communication with God. Some say Yahweh, some say Jah, whatever we call him. He is a supreme creator. We conduct prayer by praising God, confessing our sins, thanking him and asking him for our needs and desires. Tonight, we have as our guest Reverend Angela Palacios, who is going to talk to us about the importance of prayer and devotions. Reverend Palacios, welcome to the Bahamas Tonight Access Now.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege and a joy to be here.
Now, I gave a basic definition of prayer to you. What is prayer and what is the importance of it to persons spiritually?
Let's imagine the image of the umbilical cord that is cut at a baby's birth, and let us imagine prayer as the cord that is never cut. That it's a relationship, it's an experience, it's everything that we need to be who we were created to be. And so in my mind, that's the connection, that's a lifeline. It takes you through any experience, from birth to death and into eternal life.
And how often should a person pray?
Scripture says pray without ceasing. So you know it means anywhere, anytime, anyone has access to this amazing God of ours, who's truly 24/7 and beyond time itself. So prayer is always available, always relevant. It's the oxygen we really need to really be alive.
No, but this is a good question. How do we know when our prayers have been answered?
I think it depends on the nature of the emotional response that we get. Sometimes it's peaceful. Sometimes it may seem empty, but you begin to see signs of growth. It's like watching a plant, the seed. You don't see anything for a long time, and then suddenly changes come. Or it may be in the twinkling of an eye, and you know. You may have a sense of peace that just lets you know it's going to be all right. But if we remind ourselves, God got me, I'm okay in the strength of the Lord, even when we make mistakes, we come and we say we're sorry. And you start all over again, asking the Lord for wisdom, knowledge, understanding, discernment, insight, so that you are more than just you alone. You always have that in front, behind, beside, above, below. We are surrounded totally. And the mystery is God is in us and we are in God. You can't understand it. You can't really explain it. You only have to experience it and enjoy it.
And what's the difference between prayer and devotion?
Devotion, I would say, is discipline. I would say devotion is a sum total of all the experiences, worship, service, ministry, everything. And prayer is one aspect of it, an important aspect, but devotion is that response to the one who is the first responder to us. When you look at the cross, when you think of our Creator, when you think of the Holy Spirit as a constant companion, everything you need is in this relationship, and that's the devotion is our response to who God is in the first place.
So when should we carry out devotion, and how long can you say it should last for us?
Well, the discipline of a practice, you can say, well, all right, I'll read the Bible for half an hour in the morning, or I'll listen to my worship music on the way to school or work. You know, you weave it into your day as you wish, the silence, the breathing exercises. But in a sense, devotion should be a permanent experience, a permanent existence. It's who we are. It's who we are. To be devoted, it's like in marriage. You don't have special moments to be married. You're married. And so a devotion as a child of God, this is a parenting experience. It is a love that we can't explain or understand. So it's constant, always, night, day. All the time, devotion is who we're supposed to be in response to who our God has been in the first place.
And why was it so important, I guess, for the Anglican Church, I guess, to give out morning devotional or inspirational messages or materials? Why was it so important for the Anglican Church to do that?
We always had different format, but during COVID in particular, we were very intentional because we needed people to be encouraged. I did do the contact tracing, but they asked me to do the spiritual side rather than the medical. So one day in particular, I had 40 people to call, to pray with them, to talk with them, to encourage them. Sometimes people were in lockdown, but they weren't sick. Sometimes their children were on the outside, on the other side of the door. And so people were in many different circumstances. One lady, she said she didn't even have time to get her laptop, so she's locked in a room by herself for 10 days or more. So a part of what we were doing was reaching out because the churches were closed, so we made sure that you could open your Bible, you can open your prayer line, that we were always there reminding you that God was with you and that the church was there with you as well.
Reverend Palacios, thank you so much for joining us here on the Bahamas Tonight Access Now, and all the best to you this year.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
My joy.
Don't go anywhere. Amajal Knowles has a look at what's coming up in sports.
And dozens of golfers teeing off at the Bahamas Golf Classic. Details of that story coming up in sports.
Want to save money this year? Try shopping the specials at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets. Kraft macaroni and cheese, 7 1/4 ounces, $1.19. Parmesan tuna, 5 ounces, 89 cents. Boneless chicken breast, $2.99 per pound. Fresh pork picnics, $1.99 per pound. Sweet mangoes, 2 for $3. Fresh lemons, 3 for $1. Specials every day at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
Throughout our lifetime, we must all make decisions. No matter how we choose, the right one just needs to be made. Like having J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers as your insurance partner. We've been serving the Bahamas for over 100 years. Whether you need home, motor, marine, or commercial insurance, make the right decision. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com. JS Johnson Insurance.
Whopper with cheese never tasted so good. 100% flame grilled beef, now juicier. With fresh ingredients as usual. And even fluffier buns. The Whopper with cheese. Bigger, better, tastier. Get a regular combo for only $9. Only at Burger King Nassau.
Welcome to your Monday Sports Check, everyone. I'm Amajal Knowles, topping sports. The Bahamas Golf Classic teeing off yesterday at the one and only Ocean Club over at Paradise Island. The Corn Ferry Tour event seeing over 140 golfers compete this week as they try and make the PGA Tour. Look at the leaderboard after day one. Sitting in first, Americans John Vanderland and Rick Lamb, who are both tied at 12 under. And third would be the USA's Hank Laboda, who is 11 under par. The lone Bahamian in the field would be Grand Bahamian Cameron Riley, who at suspension of play would be 4 over, scoring a 70 in round 2. We caught up with him after his day one performance.
I struck the ball well. I did everything I was supposed to do, played solid golf, but the putts just weren't dropping today. But that happens, that's golf, and you know, I'm proud of the way I played today. I hung in there. It got rough for a minute, but I hung in there and always got tomorrow, so looking forward to that. It's funny, I was actually talking to my caddy Alex about this. You know, this competition is unlike anything in the world. It's the second highest place you can play in professional golf. I think I'm matching up pretty well to him. I'm handling myself, you know, the way I'm supposed to. But one thing we were talking about is you got to think, these guys, every single one from 1 to 144, were the best in the world amateurly and the best in the world in their country. And it's crazy to just think that everybody came together, and you know, it's cool that I can represent the Bahamas here because, you know, we have a great golf program too, and I'm living proof of that. And we need to show the world that, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job of that. Could do better, but you know, I'm just trying to make sure that everybody knows the Bahamas and put them on notice.
As for any pressure on playing at home,
you know, it's always added pressure. You always want to play well for your country and do your country proud. I think one thing that I really enjoyed, and I'm proud to be Bahamian, is everybody that came out and supported from little to old. That really kept me going out there. It gets rough and lonely out there on the golf course and in the professional setting of the game, but just having and knowing that I have a whole country on my back and supporting me, it keeps me going. So I'm forever indebted to this country for that, and indebted to everybody who supports me.
And that's Look at Your Sports on this Monday. A check on weather when we return.
So we helped bring some magic to the Aubrey Sale Primary School. We were able to visit with Mickey Mouse, bring some gifts, and just celebrate the magic of Disney in the community today, here in Nassau.
We were in a Disney sort of mood. It was such a great joy to see their faces light up and to hold those toys in their hands, knowing that I've got a piece of Disney in my hand. It was just awesome.
Disney coming to Eleuthera, coming to Nassau and Abaco. I'm so proud of Disney Cruise Line and the work Disney is doing, especially in the classroom and the schools in the Bahamas.
This has been an amazing day for me.
At Cartwright, our members know that there's a lot to smile about. They know that membership has its privileges. Guaranteed low pricing on every item, every time you shop. Each membership comes with 2 cards. That's one for you and a free card for a member of your household. Gold card holders earn an annual 2% rebate up to $500. Cartwright members get discounts at other participating businesses. So that's a lot to smile about. Whether it be clothing, appliances, home goods, or groceries, shop at Cartwright, where membership truly has its privileges.
For hurricane season, we got impact windows and doors. For protection, just come to our store. Plus we got tiles to pretty up your walls and your floors. We'll help you brighten up for that big bad storm. Porcelain tiles, blank tiles, mosaic tiles, a variety of styles. Before things get right, they gotta be rough. That's why we got the best deals in the whole Bahamas. Hey, hey.
time now for your Access weather forecast, and we have some dry conditions around the islands, but that will be short-lived. We have this frontal boundary approaching northern Florida, and that's pushing towards the south and east. You can see even 1 or 2 thunderstorms associated with that. If it holds up, we can get some of that showers late tomorrow as it approaches the northwest Bahamas, but behind that, a nice cool down is expected. And now for your boating forecast is brought to you by Live Business, where you're always protected during the worst storms. In the northwest and central islands tonight through Tuesday, those winds are going to be light and variable despite the arrival of that frontal system. Flat seas 1 to 3 feet. High tide takes place at 8:14 tonight with another high tide at 8:39 tomorrow morning for the southeast Bahamas through Tuesday. Easterly winds 10 to 15 knots, wave heights 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Then middle of the week, Wednesday, we will see northeast winds. They will be increasing behind that front 15 to 20 knots, so cautious flights will go up for your boaters on Wednesday in the northwestern islands. Those wave heights, they will be building 4 to 6 feet. Now, the low tide on Wednesday, 8:46 in the morning, with a high tide at 2:32 in the afternoon. For the central and southeastern islands on Wednesday, northeast winds not as strong, 10 to 15 knots, and the wave heights 2 to 4 feet. That's going to do it for your boating forecast. It's time now for your international temperatures, and they're brought to you by Royal Stuff. And that's going to do it for your international temperatures, brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. But join me at 11 o'clock for a full weather update. That's
good wrap up there, Basil. Cool weather prevails. I know this is your type of weather.
It definitely is my type of weather, Desmond, but we're going to go now to Matea Cunningham before you get me in trouble, and let's talk socials.
Good chilly Monday evening. My name is Matea Cunningham, and this is Let's Talk Socials. You know the drill. We're discussing hot topics and trendy content within the social media scene. Today, we're discussing a Bahamian artist, his art, disrupting most of our timelines and For You pages in a way we didn't know we needed. Today, I'm talking about Broken Silence 7, also known as Ano, describing himself as a Bahamian motivational, inspirational, and educational artist in his bio. He creates spoken word pieces that speak to societal issues that are often avoided or not properly addressed. Topics of domestic violence, protecting children, high food prices, justice, and corruption. Themes packaged in catchy phrases and rhymes to bring attention to the truer issue. Take a look at his most recent video titled Protect Bahamian Women.
What's going on in my home? In fact, I promised myself I was gonna lead a saloon, because I don't practice this in my personal life. I got a lot of respect for kids and a wife. See, I spoke on this topic before. Was one of my lowest viewed videos for sure, but when it come to the headlines I see and saw, my temperature rise from off of the floor. I realize in this country, we got a dilemma. How life was created, we don't seem to remember, but we exist with the drop of a seed, and it takes a womb for us to breed. Breed rhyme with breathe, life's precious air. But the demons indeed in the atmosphere, inflicting fear in the way we live in, and in making the men hate our women.
Social media in the Bahamas is flooded with dances and trends, but it's also filled with creators and artists like Ano. Creators that use their platforms to spread messages of importance. So, what do you think? Would you check out Ano's content? Is he making good use of his platform? I'm Matea, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Wow, creative, interesting piece there by Matea.
Always does a great job, Desmond.
Yeah, that does it for Access Now. Stay tuned for the return. Can't wait for the rundown with Clint Watson.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Take care.
We are here in the time of need. There's no discrimination. The mission is to relieve the suffering. We volunteer, we deliver care. With donors and partners, we're always here to turn compassion into action. Protecting life and health with our training throughout the year. We empower to heal the world. There is hope, assistance with disasters. There is shelter and love for our people. We can work together to help those in need. So volunteer. community farming for food security. Climate program suited for our island country. Together, let's build a more resilient Bahama.
This message brought to you by the Bahamas Red Cross Society in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
There are over 3 million shipwrecks on the ocean floor, just waiting to be found. Nothing is truly ever lost at sea, only hidden by time and sand. When I put this fleet together, it wasn't just for fun. And although we do have fun, we never lose sight of our goal. Right here, right now, we are on a mission.
I don't know, but what kind of cars is this parking lot? You ain't even know where to park. Yeah, just don't park in the, look at this way. Like, he ain't getting nowhere to go. Don't park him. Just don't park in the handicap spot. Yeah, that's handicap. No, man, you can't park in the handicap spot. I ain't gonna be that long. I ain't gonna be that long. Handicap spot, boy, what's going on, dog? Well, I tell you we shouldn't park here now. This way parking, man. I tell you we shouldn't park here. Don't get one of these things. My bad big broke, and he got a sticker inside that say this model. We gotta move. This is a handicap spot. That's what we gotta move. But we gotta move. Don't leave me right now. Sorry.
Be considerate. Don't use disabled parking spaces without a decal in your vehicle. This message is brought to you by the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities.
The Rundown is brought to you by Commonwealth Brewery Limited. And we're back. Happy New Year, Bahamas, and welcome to the Rundown's first show for 2025. I certainly missed you. Hope you had a great holiday to all of you. Lots of business to do this year, so let's get right down to it. As you know, the hot story around the country tonight is that trade union Congress-led strike. Now, here's the issue for those of you who need to get a clear understanding. President Obie Ferguson contends there are long-standing issues facing unions affiliated with the TUC that government has yet to rectify. This is what he's saying. And in a social media voice note disseminated on the weekend, he's adamant that the union will not stop until all of the labor matters submitted to the Prime Minister have been addressed and resolved. Well, as you can imagine, this information hasn't been sitting well with Prime Minister Philip Davis, who declared in a statement on Sunday that there is no issue that cannot be discussed and has not been discussed. He went on to say that the question one must ask is, why would the head of the TUC want to inflict harm on the nation when the problems can be solved by simply having discussions and not an unlawful strike? Now, Prime Minister Davis contends that union leaders, workers, his government, and all right-thinking Bahamians, they do want what is best for our country. Well, not all unions participated in today's Trade Union Congress event. Tonight on our show, we'll hear from some of the heads of the unions, particularly the Bahamas Union of Teachers and, of course, the Union of Tertiary Educators of the Bahamas, on the reasons why they weren't participating, and it's not just because they're not affiliated with the TUC. And then, of course, to give the government side on the matter is, of course, the Minister of Labor and Public Service, the Honorable Pia Glover-Rose. She is here as well, and she will give her take on what is happening. Unionism in the Bahamas is a fundamental part of our society. We all agree about that. Ensuring that Bahamian workers receive their fair share is vital to national development. That's on record. Many individuals tonight are hoping, though, that the Trade Union Congress is able to iron out all their issues and bring normalcy back to the labor sector. Now, let's just be frank and up close about this. We know certain things exist. One, unions tend to get very, how should I say this? Very publicly seen as you draw nigh to an election. We are 1 year away from a 2026 election. And so there's this myth that unions try to, let's see what we can milk out of them while they're in their vulnerable state of trying to be reelected. And then, of course, there are those real cases that need real attention, those matters that have not been addressed, that need to be addressed. And those we're not shying away from here at this desk. We're going to talk to the Minister of Labor about why some matters are taking a little longer than others to be addressed. And if you know anything about the public service, you understand that there is serious challenges in sometimes trying to get things pushed through the system. It is not about government not wanting to do. It is that the system is so challenged and has so many personalities working in it that sometimes things take longer than they should because of people stifling it for ulterior motives. So not every issue that's not happening right away means that it's being ignored. Sometimes there are other factors that are at play that impact what is happening in our country. But I agree, there is a decorum that labor unions and that labor officials ought to operate by, and especially those who are veterans in this, they know how to go about what they go about. So one can only question what are the ulterior motives. Now, it doesn't mean that there aren't people who have needs and they want to make sure those are addressed. But at the end of the day, at what price are we willing to get somebody to agree with our terms? And does it mean that we put our country at risk and create other issues? Let's look at it, for example, Bahama's Air, right? Those flight attendants went on strike, and it cost the airline $1 million. Now, at the end of the day, that's $1 million that could have been going towards people, but now has to go towards the airline trying to recover from a bad decision. So at the end of the day, did it make any sense? The money that you say you need is owed to you, are you going to get it now that they have a $1 million bill that you just racked up? These are the truth and the real issues that we have to address. So we're going to a break, and when we come back, we dive into the conversation with the union leaders who are here and the Minister of Labor. You're watching The Rundown. We're back right after this. Stay close.
Hey, what's up, Mario?
Hey, Dale, what's going on?
Have you seen ZNS new digital platforms?
No. Let me go check it out.
Good day, Bahamas. I'm Devontae Hanna, and this is ZNS Digital,
where we cater to your news and entertainment needs. Are you a foodie? I thought so. Then look out for Digital Bites.
Shining a light on Bahamians and the good that they do, ZNS Digital is home to the sunshine.
Keeping up with the latest trends, our original content will keep you entertained.
Yeah, that's cool.
But have you seen the new website?
No, I didn't see it. Let me go look.
We're still your most trusted source for news and information.
That's ZNS Digital?
Yeah, that's ZNS Digital, the people station in your pocket.
There are over 3 million shipwrecks on the ocean floor, just waiting to be found. Nothing is truly ever lost at sea, only hidden by time and sand. When I put this fleet together, it wasn't just for fun. And although we do have fun, we never lose sight of our goal. Right here, right now, we are on a mission.
Hello, friends. I'm Mario Nuri, inviting you to the next A Familiar Walk as we walk down memory lane with our program over the years. Memories are the key not to the past, but to the future. So join us with former Governor Generals Dame Ivy Dumont, Sir Orville Turnquest, Sir Arthur Foulkes, former Prime Minister Perry Christie, and former Deputy Prime Minister and now Governor General Dame Cynthia Pratt. At every phase of our life, we make memories that we cherish all our lives, and we ask you to join us for a few of ours.
Welcome back to the Rundown. It's great to have all of you with us, particularly those of you joining us online on YouTube and, of course, in the Lion's Den. It's great to have all of you back with us for another year. Well, TikTok. I'm not talking about the app. That's what Teachers Union President Belinda Wilson chimed today as she calls for Trade Union Congress President Opie Ferguson to resign. Apparently, there's some rift between the leaders. President Wilson is in the hot seat here in the Rundown tonight. We'll talk about it. Welcome to the Rundown. It's good to have you. First of all, what's going on? What's this all about?
Good evening, Clint. It's my pleasure to be here with you.
Good to have you. What is going on?
Well, first of all, let me just give clarity. Belinda Wilson is the president of the Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress. So we have 9 affiliate unions and associations that are...
So to clarify this so people understand, when we say the Trade Union Congress, that's an umbrella of several unions that Opie Ferguson is leading.
Yes.
And then there's a National Congress of Trade Unions, which is another umbrella for another set of unions. And now, as you heard Belinda Wilson say, she's a president of a new umbrella union that has several unions under it. So there are 3 umbrella unions.
3 umbrella unions.
So you understand how unions are split up in the country.
So first of all, for Mr. Ferguson to call for a national strike, it cannot be national. He can only call out his unions or his affiliates and their workers. So it could not have been a national strike. Then you say, oh, I asked him to resign. For too many years, we've been whispering under our breath about the destruction that Opie Ferguson has brought to the trade union movement. As a lawyer, he's been up as far as the Privy Council against trade unions. Just as recently as a few weeks ago, he was in the Supreme Court with the Bahamas Union of Teachers, saying that we are not a registered union.
So, hold on, for clarity. So the man who is leading the Trade Union Congress is also in his legal capacity
as a lawyer,
going up against unions
to court and giving hefty fees to the unions to pay for his services. And so he is a part of why we have 3 Congresses.
Wow.
Because he tends to cause the rift to widen every time he attacks, assaults, or takes a trade union to court. And it's destructive, and it's a negative impact on the movement. So I carry no qualms to say I'm gonna dance around. Opie Ferguson, as I said before, needs to step aside, and I believe him moving aside will bring the 3 Congresses together, because I'm of the view that the young leaders that are coming up, along with the veterans like myself, will be able to bridge the gap and have the trade union movement united and solid.
Do you believe there is a common purpose in wanting to see unions represent its employees and they get the best of what can happen and they work in harmony with advancing the labor movement? Because a lot of people think the labor movement is just about how much more money you can get from me, rather than it's also a responsibility of improving training opportunities, improving career opportunities. It's not just about fighting against, but it's working toward. But do you think that's the grander picture, though, that people are seeing?
The common purpose of philosophies are the same. However, we have some individuals in the trade union movement who need to stop pandering to political parties. Let's start there. They need to stop going and begging politicians for jobs for them, jobs for their children, consultancy, and all these different boards, and stop begging. Your members voted for you to represent them. Represent them to the best of your ability, because guess what? You are the voice for the voiceless. My union has approximately 3,000 members. 3,000 of them cannot go to the Minister of Labor, to the Minister of Education, to the Prime Minister to speak. So I go to speak on their behalf. And trade union leaders need to know where their your allegiance lie with your members who voted for you, and for us who are full-time, who pay our salary.
Right.
So stop pandering to the politician.
We would have seen the Trade Union Congress boast at the beginning of this term of having signed a memorandum of understanding and so forth. Do you see, it seems as if something has gone awry from this memorandum, that they felt that the government was going to be able to meet these needs. And I remember covering that story, and I remember you did not sign. You weren't a part of that. And you sounded the alarm to say, be careful what you are doing. And now we see they're the ones who have come forward first to demonstrate against the government.
I believe the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding 3 weeks before a general election with the opposition again was a political ploy.
Right.
When we look at the Memorandum of Understanding, though, there are, if not all, at least 99% of the things that are therein that the Bahamas Union of Teachers, the Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress, and other unions, we agree with. We support is the manner in which it was done. And at that time, we were a part of the NCTUB.
Right.
Bernard Evans was our president. And I can say to you that the unions that broke away from the NCTUB, we saw them signing that Memorandum of Understanding on television. We had no sight of it prior to the signing.
Wow.
We had no input as to what should be placed in it. And so if you're representing a people, you cannot go there on your own tangent speaking and signing documents that the people that you are representing don't know about. So when you hear Belinda Wilson open her mouth, I've already had my meeting with my members, the BUT and the BNATUC. I've already had my surveys that I send out, and I have my data and my statistics. So when I go to the table and I say to the Prime Minister, the Minister, the Cabinet, whomever, this is what the BUT stands for, I know what I'm standing on.
How is your relationship with issues or concerns that BUT may have with government? Do you have that open door where you can talk and discuss or express concerns that you have?
Let me give credit where credit is due. The new minister, Honorable Pia Glover, she is very responsive. You send her a letter, she responds. You send her a WhatsApp, she answers. If she's even in a meeting, she'll say, call you back in a meeting.
That's big. That's big these days.
And I also believe, because we've had all of our quarterly meetings with her since she came in. Prior to her, we had the quarterly meetings. However, when we look at the items for discussions and the matters that are unresolved, they're still there. So yes, she does have an open door policy. Yes, I believe that she goes into a meeting and she fights for labor or for her people. But like I tell her the other day, hey, you don't know how to turn over tables, eh? Because I don't believe that the government of the Bahamas has labor as a priority.
You don't believe that?
They don't. And like I said earlier, and I'll say it again, Mr. Prime Minister, stop the lip service. Show us. I've written to you now for months. I'm still awaiting your response. I wrote to you last week when I say, Mr. Prime Minister, I'm still waiting for you to acknowledge receipt of my letter. So don't come around here talking about you all for labor. That for the people who you could fool. You can't fool me. So if you come in, come clean. And like my daddy and mother used to say, even if you come rough, try. We've requested meetings with the Prime Minister. I met with the Prime Minister with my team February 2022. I have written to the Prime Minister for the last 3 years. I've not had a meeting, but every day Obi could say he up looking up in the Prime Minister's face. So now he done lick the puppy mouth and he get a bite and then cry. And don't cry around here. Represent your people to the best of your ability. Be truthful, be credible, be transparent. If you could help, say yes. And if you can't get it done, say that too.
How has your relationship been working with education for the past few years?
I don't see any major changes in education. The ministers come and go, yeah. I don't see any major changes. I must say, though, the new director, again, similar to Minister Pia Glover Road, the new director, we message each other. Yeah, she'll call, Madam President, I have something I need to run by you, or I'll tell her the same thing. Now, what I'm bothered about with education is they are announcing all sorts of new initiatives. And we're hearing it on the TV, on the news. And like I called them last week, listen, if you want your initiative to work,
you got to get the stakeholders.
You have to speak to the union. Because when the teachers call me and say, Madam President, they say they're doing Junkanoo in the school. I say, yeah, let them do Junkanoo on Bay Street. If you don't have any supplies, you don't have any resources, you don't have a curriculum,
right?
How are you integrating Junkanoo?
Key ingredients.
Without the ingredients. Yeah. So like I tell them, ignore and keep going. Teach the children, and they talk about Junkanoo in the school. I agree with our culture being in the school, but children need to learn to read and write. We ain't fixed that yet. COVID, the dropouts, the education gap. And every time you turn around, education have a new initiative with a different name and the same results, nothing. So Glenys Hanneman, get it right. And she's another one we've not met with for 2024. She started out meeting with us. For the last year, we've not had a meeting. But she sent me a message a couple of days ago, she wanted a meeting. Well, when I'm available, we'll revert to her. But consistency is needed. Truthfulness is needed. And stop promising things that you cannot deliver. And what they keep missing is the union is your biggest public relations and marketing.
Yeah.
For free. Because if you sit with the union, you discuss with us what it is that you're trying to do. You tell us what our role is, and we're able to give you input. Once we buy that, and we go to our members with it, you will be surprised how easily that can be implemented and the members will be on board. But when you go and you announce your big initiatives in the House Assembly and wherever, and the union does not know about it, like I tell them, ignore, move on.
One final question before we go to a break, and that simply is, obviously your union, your affiliates have not participated in this particular industrial action. Why?
We did not participate because we're not a part of Mr. Obie Ferguson's Congress. Furthermore, Mr. Obie's credibility, based on our experience, his whether his motives are genuine and pure, we question it. Because every time you dig deeper, there's some personal agenda attached. So we did not participate, but I want to let the Prime Minister know, don't celebrate, sir. Because the BNAT, you see, we come in. We have our matters that are outstanding. We are tired of saying the same thing over and over. Y'all always talk about work with you, but you don't work it with us. Because if someone can write a letter to you and you don't even have the decency and the courtesy to acknowledge receipt of the letter, that's a problem. So, Mr. Prime Minister, Pierre Glover Roll, Minister Glenys Hanneman, the BUT, the BPSU, and the other unions, we want our matters addressed forthwith. A word to the wise is sufficient.
Linda Wilson, you have not changed.
No, sir. I get fiery.
It's good to have you back on the front line. Good to have you back in old age. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk as well to UTEB's representative and president. And of course, he's also representing the National Congress of Trade Unions, one of the umbrella unions. They call themselves the official voice of labor. We'll talk to them after the break. And then, straight ahead, the Minister of Labor and the Public Service, Pierre Glover Roll, is here. She'll respond. You're watching The Rundown. We're back after this.
We're here at the Nassau Village Community Center project, where over the past 17 months, we've hired over 20 Bahamian subcontractors to bring this beautiful project to fruition.
I've been living in Nassau Village for more than 19 years, and to see a project like this bring great joy and pride to me.
This state-of-the-art multi-purpose community center will serve as a crime-fighting initiative in the community. Also help with the education of our kids in this community and a hurricane shelter.
Yeah, and it also shows what we as Bahamians can achieve when we work hand in hand with each other.
We have the technical know-how, and we can pretty much deliver on any project here in the Bahamas or in the world.
Bahama Strike and the Bahamian company, they prove that they believe in Bahamians.
Based on the outcome of this project, I don't think they're disappointed in giving a small person an opportunity to do a job such as this.
The more opportunity they get, the more opportunity we will get.
If you look around and see the work done so far, it just shows what we as Bahamians can do.
Hi, I'm Brent Burrows, Vice President of Retail and Sales at CBS Bahamas and the CBS Pro Store. Not only do we guarantee the best prices on all your favorite building materials, but we're proud to offer the best delivery program in all of Nassau. Whether you buy one box of screws or a truckload of plywood, island-wide delivery is just $5. And for our Family Island customers, we're proud to offer complimentary drop-off to the mailboat of your choice. Visit us today at the CBS Pro Store on Robinson Road and check out our website to set up your next delivery.
Abuse, domestic violence, suicidal tendencies. Are you being stressed out from these problems? Call the national hotline at 422-2763 or 322-2763. There are trained social workers available 24 hours to help you. Know that you are not alone in this.
And welcome back to the show. The National Congress of Trade Unions, Bahamas, announced that their members will not be participating in any industrial action over the next 2 days. Now, though the NCTUB does have a few outstanding matters with the government, they seek to resolve them with the government by way of social dialogue. Now, one of the NCTUB's affiliates is a union of tertiary educators, and its president, Daniel Thompson, advises the government and Trade Union Congress to remain at the table and to resist muscle flexing and its potential impact of destabilizing a still recovering economy. Daniel Thompson, who's also the Secretary General for the National Congress of Trade Unions in the Bahamas, is here. Welcome to the show. Good to have you in a rundown.
Thank you, Clint.
So let's start, obviously, you represent UTEB, but also as an executive for NCTUB. NCTUB has been stated as to be the official voice, because once ago there was just the NCTUB.
Yes, the NCTUB considers itself the official voice of labor in the country. I'd first like to apologize to my president, Mr. Dwayne Pricklewoods. He sends his regards, and I serve as the Secretary General of the NCTUB. And we do believe that the engagement in social dialogue is critical for labor relations development in the country.
O.B. Ferguson and his team have said that this was almost a last resort for them because they have not gotten, I guess, answers or gotten movement on some of the things that they want to see movement on. No doubt unions have said they all have issues and concerns that they want to see movement on. The NCTUB obviously has not decided to move along with O.P. Ferguson in this regard. Why is that? Are there not issues you have?
Yes, firstly, I'd like to say that I do not speak on behalf of the TUC. I'm speaking as authorized by my president on behalf of the NCTUB. So because we believe in the concept of social dialoguing, we feel that when affiliates, workers, and their representatives engage in discussion and discourse with the employer, in this case the government, that certain type of industrial actions are really last resort. And, you know, while persons may try to reenact Burma Road, they may try to reenact the general strike, but the reality is that we are not in that dispensation. We are at a point where there is dialoguing, there is engagement with the government, and I can speak only from the NCTUB perspective that we are engaged in dialogue, we are engaged in discourse with the government, and we meet on a quarterly basis. And very succinctly, the government and its representative, through the minister and her Department of Labor, her labor consultants, we methodically go through each issue that affect each affiliate. We get updates. In many instances, the minister engaged in providing answers instantly. I've seen her go on the phone and look at issues. We admit that, notwithstanding the efforts that have been happening, that there will always be a need to engage in dialogue, right? There will always be a need for us to constantly engage in dialogue. I use the expression that this Davis administration is a victim of its own success in good labor relations. In other words, because the government has been very effective in addressing labor issues and concerns, there is an expectation that they would do even more. And from the NCT perspective, we have been getting results. In my capacity as president of UTEB, as you know, a few months ago, we signed an industrial agreement with BTVI. And we have negotiated a lot of things, so we're getting results. But I find that a lot of the problems that many of these workers are experiencing is because of the CEOs, the directors, the presidents of these various boards and organizations, that they cause a lot of issues in implementing the will of the government. So a lot of time, it's not so much the minister or even the prime minister, because the prime minister, when we sat with him, he expressed his concern about workers. He expressed the importance of workers within the context of the economy, within the context of his style of government. But when you went, it's as if the memo never reached the president. We have faced the challenges at BTVI. We have negotiated an industrial agreement, but the executives seem to find every opportunity to frustrate the workers. And that is where most of the problem exists, where the directors, the CEOs are not fulfilling the mandate of the government.
It's interesting you say that because that continues to be a problem that consecutive administrations face. Now, why I believe the Davis administration may be challenged is because it seems to be this apprehension and this fear of dealing with people who do not carry out the mandate of the government. If you do not follow, if the government is saying we're going to be labor friendly and we're going to do this for people and we're going to ensure that people are taken care of and that you treat people right and correctly, if people are acting contrary to what the principle and the mandate is of an administration, they ought to be dealt with. But I think many people get away with treating people poorly. They get away with not following the process and policies and procedures of the public service. They get away from not having to follow it, and it creates havoc for the administration.
And Clint, what I would say that a lot of persons get away with it because when workers remain silent. For an example, the issue with BTVI, you know, we're constantly, you haven't heard much from us because we're constantly in dialogue. Now, if it reaches a point where the administration at BTVI refuses to deal with workers, then you're going to have a problem. We have a similar problem. We represent 71 doctors, or rather, we have 71 doctors at the University of the West Indies medical facilities, who we have written to the minister for recognition, and we expect that will be addressed. And let me just say something, just to show an example of what this administration is doing. When we first sought reference to determination for BTVI, we wrote to the minister back in 2019, and it took 1 year before our communication was acknowledged.
Wow.
When we wrote to this administration, to this minister, for the recognition for the doctors at the University of the West Indies, the medical instructors at their medical clinic, school, within that day, I got a response.
That day?
I got a call, and they began to question me exactly, try to get clarity in what I was doing. And we have had dialoguing back and forth with the registrar, with the Department of Labor, trying to find redress. Now, we have not got the recognition yet. But, you know, we anticipate that will happen soon. And that's where us as union leaders must understand and trust the process. That while we expect to get recognition instantly, the reality is that things, because of the nature of the public service,
it's a process,
which is antiquated, we inherited it.
Yeah.
It's a process, and that speaks to something else, that oftentimes most of the issues you see being challenged today, some of these issues existed decades ago. But because the current administration appears to be addressing them, you're seeing it's as if everything is coming out of the woods. But many of these issues are legacy issues. Yeah. Persons whose contracts were not signed for 8 years or 5 years, they're now being signed. And the issue now, how do you try to fix an injustice that existed 5 years ago? And those are the challenges. And I think we as union leaders, we must be responsible. We must be tempered in our approach and how we lead our members, right? And so, listen, so I'm excited for what is happening at the NCTUB in terms of the results we're getting. Not perfect, everything isn't being done, but we are making progress. And most importantly, there's dialoguing. Once we are talking and we're getting results, we appreciate that. And that is why our affiliates, as our president indicated, our affiliates, we didn't participate, we were not even informed about what was happening. But while there may be a division in the Congresses, workers in the country are nonetheless united. So Congress and its leadership may be playing to different tunes, but the workers, the needs of the workers is the same. The needs are the same. And we must, as leaders of the various unions and affiliates, we must recognize that the needs of our workers is far greater than our individual ego.
Do you think that unionism, while I believe it is good, I've spent many years as an active member and executive of a union, but do you believe, though, that unions have caused the workforce in this country to be slack because people use unions as a crutch and a way out when they don't want to be responsible for their actions?
The union is like the church. A lot of people get saved, but you get a lot of hypocrites at the same time.
Yeah.
You get a lot of issues. So when we think of trade unionism in this country, think about maternity leave. Think about paternity leave. At UTER, we have political leave. Think about all these benefits, minimum wage and salary adjustment. Think about the National Insurance Board. All of these are union-related initiatives. So while we may criticize the few bad eggs, or even those who may have an ego, we must not negate the role or the importance or the significance of trade unionism in our country.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I do want to say that, because I think people only see trade unions as somebody who's going to row for me to keep my job, somebody going to row for me to get a raise, somebody going to row for me to get more benefits, and not understand that unions should go beyond that. It should be about your development, your career development, your personal development, ensuring that you can give more and do more and be more, and that you have opportunities that you never had before. This narrow-minded view that unions only to bail you out or to get you more, I think we have to erase that and recognize that unions ought to be partners and stakeholders in companies.
You know, my president, Brother Woods, he takes that same position, that no longer are we in that era where we are concerned only about money. We are concerned only about marching down Bay Street. We're concerned only about breaking down. But the unions of today must be engaged in across the board, boardroom diplomacy. You must be able to engage and meet the various CEOs at their levels.
At their level.
And engage in intellectual discourse.
Yes.
That is how it's going to happen. We're not negating the role or the importance of strikes and other more visible industrial actions. Those are important. But there's a time, my brother, and there's a season.
Yeah.
Right? So if we engage in social dialoguing, then you find that there's less need for us to throw stones and to do certain things. But I do not discount or I do not negate those persons who choose those other efforts. All riddance to them. But I've learned, and at the NCTUB and my president, we have learned the art of diplomacy. We have learned the art of negotiating, because you can negotiate and demonstrate all day, and I can go and engage in dialogue and write and get my industrial agreement signed. Which workers benefit?
True.
The ones who spend years negotiating, years arguing, and I'm getting my contract signed. Tell me who benefits. And you can say whatever you want to say, but if I get my industrial agreement signed at UTEP. We get them signed, and we will get our recognition. And we don't, because we engage in social dialogue and we trust the system. And that is important. And I say to my fellow trade unionists, trust the system. I say to them, to the leadership, let's be responsible as we lead our workers, because at the end of the day, it's less about us and more about the workers. That is why we went into this particular discipline, because our love for workers and the well-being of people in this country. That's what it's about. It's not about Daniel Thompson. It is not about Dwayne Woods. I'm a professor at the university. I have a professional career. But when I go about and doing what I do, I represent those professors at the university, those instructors at the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute, and those doctors at the University of the West Indies who are looking forward to being recognized and accepted and receiving representation by UTEP.
Daniel Thompson, thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
Up next, the hot seat belongs to the Minister of Labor and Labor. She's Minister of Labor and Public Service. We've covered the public service tonight. We talk about labor. Minister of Labor and the Public Service, the Honorable Pia Global Role. She is here. She'll address all of the activities of today and what many union leaders have said, and talk about what her administration is doing. You're watching The Rundown. The minister is at this desk after the break.
There are over 3 million shipwrecks on the ocean floor, just waiting to be found. Nothing is truly ever lost at sea, only hidden by time and sand. When I put this fleet together, it wasn't just for fun. And although we do have fun, we never lose sight of our goal. Right here, right now, we are on a mission.
We seem to remember our athletes when they make us proud at the finish line. A Junkanoo parade when they return home, toss them a few dollars. And then forget about them until the next Members of the prestigious Fourth Estate should never sell themselves to any politician. Instead, keep their hands and noses clean in order to publish or broadcast the unadulterated truth. Well, that's how I see it anyway.
Read as I see it, exclusively at ZNSBahamas.com. New articles premiere on Mondays at 9 a.m.
I don't know, but there's all kind of cars in this parking lot. You ain't even know where to park. Yeah, that's no parking. Look at this way. Like, he ain't get nowhere to go. Don't park him. Just don't park him. Don't park him. Yeah, that's handicap. No, man, you can't park him. I ain't gonna be that long. I ain't gonna be that long. Handicap spot, boy, what's going on, dog?
I tell you we shouldn't park here now. This way parking, bro.
I tell you we shouldn't park here.
Don't get one of these things.
My bad big bro, and he got a sticker inside to say this mother. We gotta move. This is a handicap spot.
That's what we gotta move.
But we gotta move. Don't leave me right now. Sorry.
Be considerate. Don't use disabled parking spaces without a decal in your vehicle. This message is brought to you by the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities.
Welcome back to The Rundown. I've been seeing your comments on YouTube, those of you on YouTube, and of course in the Line Zen on Facebook. Thank you for being a part of the discussion and expressing your concern and your views. Joining me at the desk is, of course, the Minister of Labor and the Public Service, the Honorable Pia Global Role. She has been the one who's been leading this movement to try and get things done in the public service, and in her recent portfolio, adding labor to it, trying to dialogue with labor leaders to get contracts signed, to get concerns addressed, has been what she has been passionate about and achieving. And she's here to talk about really what's happening today, and of course, some of the concerns she's heard already on the show. Minister, welcome. Good to have you back. You're a regular now on the rundown. Okay, so, you know, I'm going to start out right off course, and that is, we see what has been proposed, what was intended to happen today by the TUC. This must come, and I say this because in leadership, you work very hard to try and make things work. And when you know that you have done a lot to make things work, and people who you expect to have relationship with do act out, it concerns anyone. As Minister of Labor, you have been passionate about trying to bring resolve, and no one can deny that. No one can say it's not true. You have sat around this desk. I've seen you in other venues and other places work very hard and advocate for labor unions and to make sure that their matters are heard, they're addressed, and they can at least get a response. And then to have the Trade Union Congress call for this strike today. Your response?
You make me want to go to church, because I feel like saying weapons will form, but they won't prosper.
Yeah.
Because when you're doing a work and the work is for the greater good, evidently it shows. We have, as a government, as an administration, been focused on labor. Not only did we lay out our blueprint which came out of the infamous Memorandum of Understanding, but we've been able to check off as we go along and qualify every item that's in our blueprint for labor. It includes not only dealing with the legacy issues, but as we deal with the legacy issues, Clint, ensuring that we're fixing the broken system so that we don't get here again.
Right, because the system has been broken. That's why we got here.
That is how we're here, because we are working with policies and laws that are older than the nation. You are managing a 21st century workforce with 1971 rules. You are asking us to send telegrams, faxes, and use typewriters when we are now emerging into AI. And that's the reality.
Right.
So while we have a lot of balls in the air, while we're trying to clear the backlogs, deal with the legacy issues, we also have to analyze the process and ensure that we don't get here again. Not only as a country, but for the people that are serving, our public servants who lament that I've entered the public service, I'm about to retire, and nothing has happened for me. These are the people that I take personal interest in terms of making sure we right the wrongs. Clint, it's not an overnight process.
I was about to ask you, because I'm seeing one person online saying, how long should civil servants wait? And that's a reasonable concern, because people are saying, well, how long should I wait?
You should not have had to wait as long as you've had, but I say to civil servants all the time, an issue that is 15 years old won't take 15 days or 15 minutes to clear.
Right.
You know, it's a process. We're still governed by policy.
Right.
While I would love to take all of your files and just put approved and push them through, it comes to me, it goes to the commission, it has processes that we cannot bypass because the legislation speaks to the rules.
And if you bypass them, then it's said to not be authentically done.
Precisely. So we still have to follow the rules. So where we have rules that have a 12-step process that could probably be a 2-step process, we're fixing that. So while we're simultaneously working, we are also looking at the legislation. Historic. In July of 2024, I hosted a labor legislative symposium where the stakeholders came to the table, and you know, as I speak to the unions, which I do frequently, and they say, but, you know, this clause in the Employment Act don't make no sense. This in the Industrial Relations Act we need to change. I was listening. We're doing that because we have to ensure that our legislation, our framework is not only current, but it's also future focused. Every day, AI and technology is evolving. How are we addressing that in our labor policies? Climate change, it's real. Whether people want to believe it or not, we're feeling the effects of it. How are we addressing that in our labor policies? We aren't at this time. Where there were areas that were, we call gray areas in our labor law, we're clearing them up. But this is not a government project. This is a tripartite project. This is where social dialogue is happening with all of the stakeholders. So as we move along in the process, everybody has a stake in its success.
Someone just mentioned, I thought it's a good point to bring out to you. Someone said, when it's like this and there's so much to go through the commission shouldn't be meeting twice a week. Why is the commission meeting more frequently?
Absolutely. So I would like you to know that while statutorily it says that the commission meets twice a week, we've increased that.
Okay.
We have upped the game. The Ministry of Public Service works around the clock, and that means from not 9 to 5. You can pass there at 9 p.m. and you know that there are persons there working Saturdays, Sundays, and the commission has taken an interest in our work, and they have also extended. So there aren't only 1 or 2 meetings per week now. They meet when they need to ensure that we are giving the focus that's necessary. However, the backlog is significant. They have thousands, and we've processed thousands, and there are probably thousands more to go. However, we are seeing the dent. We're seeing things happen. We have, in December, recently regularized 700 52-week workers.
Wow.
That's everybody that was on the program historically that was just in limbo, sitting on the program, a 52-week worker who's been on the program for 12 years.
12 years?
Okay. But now they've all been regularized. Those who have not already received their letters during the holidays should be receiving their letters within the coming weeks, because we have distributed the letters to their various ministries. But it's process. That took us 18 months to fix. And so this is the reality. Things take time. Some things can happen in a day. I can sit in a quarterly labor meeting with unions and fix an issue on the spot by making a call or speaking to a colleague. I can fix a matter 2 or 3 days, or my department can fix a matter 2 or 3 days post or subsequent to the meeting. But then there are matters that have been on the agenda probably 3 times because it's just not so easy to fix. Some require more work, some require some policy amendments, some require a little more research and due diligence.
Some require money.
And some require fiscal support. So that is the natural state of things. Everything won't be able to be handled immediately, but I do my best as the minister. My department, I think, does very well, the ministry, in communicating. Where there's social dialogue, there's progress. When we stop the dialogue, we stop the progress.
Good point. I think it's important for people to understand everyone can't have everything done right now. That doesn't exist in any country, anywhere in the world, that all of your issues, you have 40 items on the agenda, and every union gets all 40 items met and gets it all dealt with right away. Then what's the purpose of having a union after that? If everything can be solved right away. It can't happen.
Let me use this analogy. I'm a mother. When my baby was hungry and I have to cook the food, they could cry, you know, but I got to cook the food because I'm not going to serve you the food raw.
Right.
So here we are. Matters need to be resolved, yes. Everybody wants to be the priority, yes. Things take time, yes. However, it is most important to understand that where there are legacy issues, there are issues that probably have been tackled by many administrations. But some matters are so hard to resolve that I think there are instances where people are like, well, you know, let's put this aside for now.
Right, right.
Our administration has demonstrated the political will to keep going. And that is what makes me concerned about the proposed actions that were to take place today. When you push away from the table, that takes us to a place of stalemate. If you have matters that are to be resolved, we're going to have moments of contention. I mean, that comes with the territory. But the point is you keep going. And what we've found is there are matters that are not as simple as fix as people sitting on the other side may say, well, just do this. It doesn't work that way. There are matters that require some policy changes. There are matters that require funding. Many of our matters that are stalemated are in a place where, and we have to understand the domino effect of this. If a matter is 15 years backlogged, when we fix that matter, we owe you
15 years.
And we handle budgets on an annual basis. So now we have to compensate in some way to find the funding to handle matters that should have been handled 15 budget cycles ago, maybe. So it's business. It's not, we're not running a tuck shop. It's real business with real economics attached. But most importantly, I continue to say, we communicate these things.
We're gonna go to a break. When we come back, I'm gonna put the question to you. Was this strike illegal? Was it necessary? And if you are dialoguing, then what is the issue? We're gonna bring that question to you when we come back. You're watching The Rundown. We're back after this. Stay close.
We are here in the time of need. There's no discrimination. The mission is to relieve the suffering. We volunteer, we deliver care. With donors and partners, we're always here to turn compassion into action. Protecting life and health with our training throughout the years. We empower to heal the world. There is hope, assistance with disasters. There is shelter and love for our people. We can work together to help those in need. So volunteer with us and donate to show you care. There is hope, assistance with disasters. There is shelter and love for our people. We can work together to help those in need. So volunteer with us and donate to show you care. Together, let's build a more resilient Bahamas. Community farming for food security. Climate programs suited for our island country. Together, let's build a more resilient Bahamas.
This message brought to you by the Bahamas Red Cross Society in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Hello, friends. I'm Mario Nuri, inviting you to the next A Familiar Walk as we walk down memory lane with our program over the years. Memories are the key not to the past, but to the future. So join us with former Governor Generals Dame Ivy Dumont, Sir Orville Turnquest, Sir Arthur Foulkes, former Prime Minister Perry Christie, and former Deputy Prime Minister and now Governor General Dame Cynthia Pratt. At every phase of our life, we make memories that we cherish all our lives, and we ask you to join us for a few of ours.
Welcome back. We're here with the Minister of Labor and the Public Service, Honorable Pia Glover-Roll, talking about labor relations in the country. And I want to put the question to you, and the question simply is, was this illegal? Was it warranted? Where did the breakdown happen?
Clint, I know the public has heard me say before, a union has a right to strike. Strike certificates are issued by the minister, so it's no surprise when a strike occurs. I'd like to say that in the past 3 years, we've issued 8 strike certificates, contrary to the numbers that I've heard out there. But it's no surprise. So it isn't illegal to strike. However, the Industrial Relations Act speaks to, in Section 74, it speaks to the process.
Due process.
When due process is eliminated by in some way, then it becomes an illegal action. How did this become an illegal action? If you are prompting a sick call-out via voice note, then ultra-virus the law, you are now engaging or causing persons to engage in illegal action.
Right, because you're not sick.
So it's not an illegal strike, but by the means by which you attempted to engage your members to sit out, then affected the process.
Is there not dialogue going on with the TUC? He's saying that he hasn't spoken to the Prime Minister. Is that true? Belinda Wilson and others seem to think he has an audience with the Prime Minister whenever he needs one.
To my knowledge, he does. To my knowledge, the Prime Minister and he have met on a number of occasions. In fact, the Prime Minister has met with him prior to seeing me, because our quarterly union meetings that was held the week of December 16th, Mr. Ferguson did not attend. He sent his Secretary General, or his first vice, I think, Freddie Munnings. So he's seen the Prime Minister even since he's seen me, before he's seen me lately. So dialogue is ongoing. The last meeting held with the TUC, and let me explain the quarterly meetings. The quarterly meetings that I host with unions, the unions create the agenda for the meeting. I don't say, come to the meeting and this is what we're going to talk about. I say, come and meet with me. Let me know what you would like to discuss. Mm-hmm. The unions present the agenda and we go down the agenda items. Some are new, some are not new items. While it is my goal that every meeting we have a new agenda and we get these items off, realistically it's not been able to happen, but we keep going. The TUC did meet with the minister, the director, the registrar, the labor consultants, and our whole group on the week of December 16th. And we left the meeting with the final word being said that all was well. We know we have matters to resolve. We have set timelines. We know that there are matters to resolve, and this is what's the action plan. But Minister, we are grateful. We're grateful for this audience and the resolve that has been had so far and the work that is being done. So, how we got here, I'm not quite sure. And
that was the last meeting.
But we also have minutes that reflect every one of our meetings held with every union.
So the last meeting, you left on good terms?
Yes, we did.
And with an understanding?
Yes, we did. And the minutes will reflect.
Clearly something's missing. Clearly something's missing. The country was able to get through today.
Absolutely.
Services were able to continue.
Yes,
we understand the challenge that the hospital faced, and that's unfortunate because we're dealing with people's lives.
Yes. The physicians do have matters pending. They are on the verge of signing an agreement, the Physicians Alliance. There were 4 matters of contention, 3 of which were agreed to by the Prime Minister. 1 is at financial review. So the negotiations continue with 1 matter that is being worked through. So I understand that the physicians have contention, if you want to say that, but the hospital was able to function because 100% of the doctors did not show.
Good.
A percentage didn't show. So there was function. It was in function at 100% at its maximum, which caused some inefficiencies. But fortunately, they were able to get through the day. And of course, because contingencies were in place and contingencies continue to be in place, we will continue to function, and then whatever other matters we need to resolve or whatever other contingencies need to be placed, we will continue to do that because we cannot afford for public disruption, especially of our essential services.
So no reports today of anything falling apart?
No, absolutely not.
Everywhere functioned?
Fortunately, with contingencies in place, we were able to get through the day successfully, and we're grateful for that.
My final question, has this in any way, shape, or form discouraged you?
Absolutely not. Distractions will come. I feel that the closer we get to the finish line, the obstacles will be thrown in the way. We have a memorandum of understanding that is 96% complete. We have a labor agenda that can be checked off in our blueprint for change that is almost complete. We have 53 agreements signed, and they don't like when I say that, but let me qualify that. 53 agreements signed, with the majority of them expiring in July of this year, which means they've been honored. Which means now we're going to renegotiate, which means that their members, their workers, who are most important, have benefited. I'm not discouraged. The work continues because the work isn't for the unions. The work is for the workers of the country, and that is who I'm responsible for, both public and private sector. And it's my goal to get past these issues because there's so much more we need to do to make our workers more competitive, to grow our labor force in a way where we are not only competing locally, but internationally on the global scale. There's more to do. I want to get past these small issues, but until we do, we continue working.
Minister, thank you so much for coming on tonight. And I'm sure the country is behind you and supporting you. We want a better country, and however we can get there, we're willing to do that. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And that's our first show for the year. We've got some exciting shows lined up for you this 2025 and this week. Be sure to stay locked into the ZNS network for the Bahamas tonight at 11. We have the final newscast of the country. Anywhere you look, it's here at ZNS at 11 with Royston Jones. Royston in the building. He's in the building preparing for 11 o'clock. Until then, folks, thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Good night.
At Harold One, I'm Ted Jervis, and this is ZNS.